let's do some analysis. So let's say you're a financial analyst and you have the statements. There are three ratios that we could use to analyze receivables. And the word used is magnitude. We just want to say, how big are the receivables given the company's experience? The first is called a turnover. It means how many times do we turn over our receivables. The formula is sales for the year divided by average accounts receivable. And that tells us how fast we turn. If we turn one time a year, that means our receivables is going to equal 1 year sales. That's not very good. What would we like? Well, if you remember 30 days, that's 1 month. So we'd like it to turn 12 times a year. 12 would mean that every month we're collecting. 12 would correspond to a 30-day term scenario. Second is accounts receivable as a percent of sales. And this is a straight percentage. So this is frankly not used very often, but it's okay because we would use it maybe for estimating balance sheets. But normally we talk turnover. But by far the most easily interpreted and most commonly used is the third one, day sales outstanding. And this is where we have the receivables balance of, on the top, average AR, and we divide it by the average sales per day. The formula here that the author does is, I think, less logical than what I just said, but it's mathematically equivalent. So the formula here is 365 times the average accounts receivable divided by sales, and that's the day sales outstanding. The way I would put it is average accounts receivable divided by how many sales you have in a day, right? So 365 divided into sales is how much you sell in 1 day. Divide that into your accounts receivable and you say, how many days is that? This is what the book shows, and that's why I carried it forward for you to look at. Let's say you do all the number crunching of all three, let's say, and you don't like what you see. What might that mean? If these ratios worsen, in other words, the receivable turnover slows down, or the AR as a percentage of sales goes up, or day sales outstanding goes up beyond 30 to 35 to 40, etc., what might that mean? Well, we don't know specifically why. We just know the trend is bad, right? It could be you're being lazy. You're not following up with people that owe you money, and they're saying, hey, if you don't call me, I'm not going to pay you. Kind of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, a lot of companies operate that the squeaky vendor gets the money. So that's one. The second is maybe you're too loose. Maybe somebody that has bad credit and is in trouble comes to you and asks you if they could buy product from you and they'll pay you later, and they have bad credit. They're not going to pay you fast. So maybe you've loosened your credit in the effort maybe to goose up sales a bit. You loosen who you'll sell to. You know, you pay the price, right? Because some of those people you sell to may not pay you. And third is maybe there are some issues with quality where people are now being a little grumpy and not paying for damaged goods. Or the economy is tough, and generally when the economy is tough, just things get tight all over and people just don't have money. They have the intention to pay you and they would like to pay you, but they just don't have the money, right? So tough times often put strain on the system. An example of Pfizer, a pharmaceutical company, and what's highlighted here are some trends from the years 2011 to 2015. Look at the AR turnover, and it goes from 4.6 in 2011 to 5.9. So again, the faster it turns, the better. So that's a good improvement. The other one that's highlighted below is one that I find much more easily interpreted, and this is day sales outstanding, and it goes from 79 to 61. Whoa, I get it. It used to take us 80 days to collect our receivables. Now it takes us a little over 60 days. That's a pretty big improvement. This is an example using historical analysis over a period of time, and I like 5 years. That's what I think is a prudent amount of time. We can quantify what the value is, and the calculation here is that it generates $2.3 million more cash, because $133 million per day, that's the sales, times a 17-day improvement, which is the difference between 62 and 80. That improvement is worth $2.3 million. It might sound like just an academic argument, how long does it take you to collect cash? But when you quantify it into how much cash is freed up when you're tighter on collecting money, it's real money, right? So companies should pay close attention to their receivables and who gets credit and how fast you collect.